ジョーンズ、お前得意先と会議じゃないのか。遅れるぞ。
はい。
タクシー使えよ。
はい。
あいつ今日は妙に元気だな。
あと1分で着きます。
もしかしてこれ飲んだのか。
お待たせしました。治療です。
この惑星では妙に力がみなぎる時もある。
俺も飲んじゃおうかな。
ボスからエナジーアイアンボス。
チチンปุイปุイ大丈夫
よし、アリナミン V ドリンク武田。
Hi, my name is Erin. I use she, her pronouns, and I am this.
What's the easiest way to make money?
The first million is the hardest to make.
Right.
Yeah.
So start with the second million.
Right.
Hello?
We don't see groups. We don't see victims. We don't see people we want to exploit. What we see is potential.
Oh, look at this Power Ranger. Go, go, Power Ranger. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Crackosaurus. Let me see your move. Crackosaurus. All right then. It's morphin' time. Dragon Sword. Mastodon. Crackosaurus. Cidertalk.
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus. Yeah. Good. We're ready to morph into action. 6 working together to fight evil.
And stop Rita and all her menacing monsters
From destroying our planet Earth! And ruling the universe with evil!
Look out, Rita. We're not backing down. We're the Power Rangers. All right. Okay. All right.
Him that encouraged you, hopefully, because without the encouragement of your father, man, the world is a dismal place. It's very difficult to be a courageous person unless you have your father in body and spirit behind you. It's very demoralizing.
people of Earth. It is I, Emperor Zurk. As you can tell, this has been pre-recorded. It is because I am out hunting for new Jeffs. Although, it comes to my attention that you may be confused. Jeffs are co-ed. As you can see here, we are aware that you are a dual-sex species, and therefore you should know that it's okay to be a girl Jeff. Wow. That's a lady Jeff right there. Whoa. But yeah. Sign up today. We're out checking them out. Yeah, oh no, I think I said the wrong thing there. Quick, Jeff, cut the thing! Cut it!
You'll get what you'll get, and you'll like it. You heard me. So anyway, here I am, finally, after 11 minutes and 20 seconds of intros. You got me. You got me. I miss the old days, back in the trash compactor days, when we do 20 minutes, half an hour's worth of intros. Maybe someday I could talk JDA into doing that again. But hello and welcome to this channel. I've dusted off the StreamYard thingy and I still know how to use it over here. How about that? Got all these neat little nostalgia buttons to push and, you know, on the StreamYard controls and your heart. I see that quite a few people here are fans of 80s, 90s, and 70s anime. Yes. Yeah, the good stuff, you know. The less corporatized stuff, if that makes any sense coming out of Japan. I don't know. It seems like it doesn't have the same spirit it did before, but those people are pretty depressed right now, so I imagine it's hard to tell an uplifting story at the moment. But yeah, no, I play that at the end of the stream too, so if you liked it the first time, you're going to like it again the second time. If not, well, you're stuck here. But do an ASMR. Oh, sure. Yeah. I'll just like build Gunpla without the camera on. It'll be great. All those loud, crinkly bags. It'll be awesome. Everybody loves that. Well, Red says, I only play corporate stuff in my intros. Sold out and happy. Yeah, you know, it works, right? Well, anyway, I'm here because I am annoyed as shit. In my state, these teeny tiny little trucks from Japan are banned. That's right. Everything from Japan, in fact. If it's not made for the US market, I can't drive it on the roads in Maine. This goes for the same in Rhode Island. And in New York, they're not allowing the mini trucks. You can have other Japanese vehicles, but they have to be, quote unquote, you know, regular highway size or road size or whatever. It annoys the crap out of me because, like, our governments want us to shrink back on our fuel consumption. Well, these little things, they have like 4 cylinders and 3 cylinders. They're just teeny tiny little 660 cc engines, little teeny tiny suckers. And they don't want them around. Oh, they failed the emissions test. For what? The tiny little fart that comes out of the half motorcycle engine that powers the thing, it can do 80 miles an hour before the freaking rods come flying out the side of the engine block. It's not out to cause trouble for anybody. But it drives me nuts. You see, if you're wondering what these vehicles are, let's just hop over here to Wikipedia, have a look. Now, it's Wikipedia, I get it, but, you know, I'm going to assume that they're not going to lie to me about tiny Japanese cars, all right? So these are called K cars. These are little tiny things you see bebopping around on YouTube videos and getting turned into cute little racers that have Kawasaki engines in them, you know? So it's pronounced Kedosha in Japan, or Kedosha, however you want to do it. Kejidosha. And it's called light automobile. Not that it's made out of light, it's just really light. So it refers to the Japanese vehicle category for the smallest highway legal passengers, right? Passenger cars, with restricted dimensions and engine capacity. Similar Japanese categories exist for microvans and K trucks, and we'll get into those in a little bit, don't worry. These vehicles are most often the Japanese equivalent of the European Union's A segment, the city cars. Now, as you're aware, this is, you know, you're kind of picturing a Mini, you're kind of picturing the VW Rabbit, Peugeot, any of them. I don't know of a full-size Peugeot, but far be it from me anyway. But so the K category was created by the Japanese government in 1949, you know, when the sizzling stopped, right? When the highways stopped sizzling. And the regulations have been revised several times since. These regulations specify a maximum vehicle size, engine capacity, power output, so that owners may enjoy both tax and insurance benefits. This is what they do in Japan for these vehicles. The whole reason they exist is for commuters. If you're an inner city commuter and you're just trying to get from one end of town to the other, these vehicles are perfect for that. They're made to go through the narrow streets of Japan, which they didn't kind of widen out around the time they started paving them and building skyscrapers. So they ended up not being able to house large vehicles like a Chevy Suburban, for instance. I'm not too sure that a Ford F-150 would even fit through the streets of Tokyo. I think you'd be in a lane and a half traveling through Tokyo with one of those. But so the K category, they enjoy the tax insurance benefits. So the government, in exchange for taking these tiny vehicles, they believe these vehicles are not consuming as much space. They're not crowding the roads as much. And also they are lighter on fuel economy because they have such teeny tiny little engines that don't, they're not meant to lay rubber. And so the Japanese government gives them, these tax benefits. And then because of the smaller vehicle, for some reason, insurance companies are like, you get killed quicker, I guess. So we'll give you a benefit to these tiny little things, even though they don't really get going that fast over there to really cause that to happen for them. But in rural areas, they have like a parking space requirement, so that there's like K cars that are like teeny tiny. They're like teeny tiny little. If you think like a mini, and then try to like imagine a van that's like the size of a Mini Cooper, one of those MG Mini Coopers, right? So this is they have little parking spaces that are dedicated to them outside of the cities even. So you can get in trouble for parking in those places. But the best part about these little vehicles, though, in my opinion, is that they're ridiculously stylish, or at least they were in the 90s. So we'll take you to the K trucks. I think the K trucks are probably the superior offering because you could do more with them. But I live out in the Willy Wax, if you will. All right. I live out in the Willy Wax, so I could make use out of this teeny tiny little truck. I don't need to go 100 miles on a day trip. I don't need to. I just need to travel maybe 50 miles going and getting back, maybe. So take a look at this little guy, right? Look at this. Look, you got to remember, look at the size of the door on this thing, okay? Look at the size of the door on this. This is a regular size. This is an oversized door. Those aren't like regular size tires. Those tires might be the size of a personal pizza from Domino's, okay? They might be 14 inches across at best. I'm thinking more like they might be 14-inch tires. But that's it. That's it. This little teeny tiny thing. The headlights are almost as big as the rims on the thing. And of course, the engine is tucked right there in the middle of the machine. You see that tiny little door here when he gets back around, so you can see into the bed again. You see that tiny little door up here, if you could see my cursor, up behind the what is the dump body, but here at the bottom of the dump body, there's a little door right there. And that leads down into the engine. The engine's tucked right behind the driver's seat. Now, what this does is it gives it like a really awesome center of gravity because it's a really tall vehicle as far as like weight distribution goes. You go around a corner too fast in one of these things and one of your heavier buddies is driving, you're going to dump right off into the ditch. No problem. Like a set of roller skates on grease, you're done. But so having the center of gravity right there really plants the thing. And then when they're all-wheel drive, you can just basically go anywhere with the thing. It's an amazing little buggy that the Japanese built really to just get around these like construction sites. It's where most of them are used. They you'll find when we look at the auction site here in a minute here, the for sale listing site in a minute. And I'll show you how crazy this is, that these things are just so everywhere they could find a spot to stick something, they did. This is a 4-wheel drive vehicle, guys. This is full-time. I think this is full-time all-wheel drive. Right there. There's the little hatch that leads to the top of the engine if you want to leave the bed down. This looks like it's a dump body, so you can bring the dump body all the way up and take a look at the engine. But it looks like this little door right here, little rivets there on it, and you pull it right out, and there's the top of your engine. I've seen them where they have like the dipstick to check the oil tucked in the fender. It's nuts. But that's one of these little guys here. It's amazing. Yeah, Shifter says that's the only heater in it too. Well, no, it's not actually. They do have heating and air conditioning in them now. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I like it, and I think it's pretty cool. These yeah, it's quite a teeny tiny little buggy. I mean, you take a head-on collision in this thing with anything bigger than it, and it's it's done. You're done, man. Like this is it's basically the equivalent of a side by side that has like air conditioning and a radio and heating and doors, like locking doors. You know, it's amazing. I love these little things. I wanted to get one, but I called my government about it, and they were like, "No, no, that's not. We don't do that here. We don't allow that here. We're a rural state with 1.2 million people living here. We couldn't possibly allow people like what 100 people, 100 people to drive these things around out of a state of 1.2 million. I think we might be able to meet each other 2 or 3 times a year. I don't know. It's crazy, but the the vans, though, I like the vans too. See, I tried to sell Finatra on a van, and whoops, there we go. Tried to sell Finatra on getting one of these because I think they're legal in his state, in New York. But wanted to paint it like that mantis green called the Stank Bus. Maybe you guys saw it on the show. But this is a Honda Street Raccoon. This is what they titled the thing back in the day. It's like with 90s vehicles. But look at how stylish this is. I know that a lot of people aren't into that 90s kind of boxy, late 80s over squared look. But for some reason, these little tiny bastards just look so like, I don't know, man. They look so sharp with just all these weird little squares and boxes and only slightly rounded edges on them. I don't know. I just really like how just 90s, like 90s, everything is about these things. It's like 90s distilled that can fit in your pocket, you know? It's crazy. Little tiny things. Yeah. Yeah, micro machines. Yeah, exactly. Micro machines. This van takes 6 people. 6 people fit in this van. It's amazing. They even made a way that you can put the seats down in these vans, right? To make a bed in the back. So the second row and the third row form a bed. It's amazing. These little things are nuts. And well, this one might not have the all the way back end thing. But look at this little tiny, it's in kilometers, obviously. And it's amazing. These little tiny things. Like if you're like a 6-foot American in this thing, your knees are in your chest right now. It's right up in your chest. What is the MPG for one of these things? Let me check that. I don't know exactly. Hold on. I'll just look that up right now. 1995 Honda Street K-Van MPG. Yeah, it got had an average consumption rate between city and highway of 42.7 miles per gallon as far as the US standard goes. But you had next to nothing for horsepower, pal. You'd be hard pressed to pass the school bus in this thing, okay? It was not designed to be a racer. That 120, you could cut that in half. This thing the bearings are coming off the thing. The bolts are shaking loose at 60 miles an hour. She is not meant for American highway. But yeah, no, you could take these little bastards anywhere, like away from the highway. I've seen them out on out here in Maine. There's a fellow who had a Mitsubishi Delica, and it went up a 45 grade, no problem. That's a van. It's a lifted van at that. And it went right up a 45 grade, no problem. Just trucked right up her. But the real time, look at that. Real time 4-wheel drive. Back in the days when like all-wheel drive was new and the fancy science to have like the computers run it, not just have your hubs locked all the time. But the steering wheel takes up like a quarter of the compartment in here. It's a massive thing inside this little bastard. But and I also like the color of it too. This one's fun. That weird Game Boy gray and the hot pink stripe down the side. Raccoon. Can you imagine like a Japanese commercial guy doing the voice actor like all new Honda Street Raccoon? Did they have like a trash can fall over and the van drive out of it or something? It's tiny enough, right? Little tiny thing. Jack Stafford says the vans I saw were circa 2015. I'll remember the name of it later. Yeah, no, they still make these. Absolutely, these still exist. You just here in the U.S. you can't import them unless they're 25 years or older. We have a law from the ye olde days, and that it's just for the U.S. just to protect our car market, we had a limit on direct imports from other domestic markets, and like states like Maine, New York, Rhode Island have banned the vehicles from being registered to travel on the roads at all. That's no low speed travel. That's no nothing. You cannot put these things on the road. The laws here treat every Japanese domestic import. So that's everything that was made in Japan for Japan that comes over here. My state treats that as all off-road vehicles, the same as trying to take a four-wheeler onto the road, an ATV, if you're not familiar. So that's how it is. It's insane. These things get a ridiculous amount of gas mileage if you're not somebody that wants to just plow around all the time and race up and down everywhere. If you're actually looking for a commuter vehicle, a grocery getter, a little bebopper to run trash back and forth to the dump, for goodness sake, these are perfect for that. But no, they don't even want the excise tax on the damn thing. I don't understand the logic behind all of it. I really don't. But Lord Raptor Jesus says, there's a YouTube channel that turned one of these into a 6x6. Yeah, no, I saw that. That's pretty badass. Hold on here. Let me dig that up while this guy goes around this. But just look at this. They were so creative to make sure that everything necessary for a road legal vehicle could fit on this. I mean, airbags weren't a requirement at the time in Japan, but they they have everything but those. They even had the seatbelts that buckle you in. You remember those things that used to strangle you when you got in the car? Like you'd shut the door and, if you were leaned forward to reach the key, to get the key slid in. Because like, for those of you who grew up without the push button start, back in the days when you had to use your hand to start the vehicle, put the key in there and twist it, back in Grampy's time, you had to look around the steering wheel or through the steering wheel holes, the hand grips, to look for the ignition so you get the key lined up. Well, in the meantime, that automatic seatbelt decided to hang you right there in the driver's seat. Like, you're not going anywhere until you're properly fastened. Six by six. But yeah, it's look at that. It's got like little foot bars. Look at that. Look at that crazy little foot bars. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is what Lord Raptor Jesus sent me to show you guys. Just take a look at this little guy. Look at that. Right up over the top of it. It's a six-wheeler they put in this thing. Look at that. But that's like, you now have like the ultimate off-road vehicle. You have a six-wheel drive, two-seater with heat, air conditioning, a radio, and an alternator to charge your battery to keep your cigarette lighter going so you can keep your phone charged. I mean, if you wanted to put a camper back on it, like, heck, you could probably put one of those small, what am I thinking of? Shipping containers on the back of it and make your own camper. I mean, that's what these guys did. Well, they didn't put a camper on it, but they just made their own truck. That's fascinating, man. That's absolutely fascinating. The Segata Sanshiro of minivans, microvans. Yeah, of minivans, extra bite-sized vans. New from Snickers. Bite-sized minivans. Yeah, the packing and engineering. Yeah, the Japanese have a knack for this of just like sticking stuff into like really tiny spaces. They just, man, like I watched a guy disassemble one of these things to like, frame up, restore it once. And man, these are nuts. Oh yeah, I know they still make them. Daihatsu just went through a facelift. Honda is still making theirs. And as far as I know, so is Subaru and Mitsubishi, but I'm not sure Mitsubishi is going to be a company for very much longer. They're having a hard time with the auto market, and it's killing the other end of their businesses because of it. But yeah, this thing's pretty sick. We go for a ride. See, there's the engine compartment right there, and man, they managed to successfully hide that. Oh, that's why. They made a giant frame, like an underbelly for the thing to hold it. That is stunning. Look at that. They needed that. They needed this little thing over at Burning Man. That would have had no trouble in the mud. Would have towed those suckers right out of there. Look at that. Look at that. Can you tell me you don't have a use for that thing? Like you couldn't figure out what to do with that? Like there's not a task in your life that could not be helped by a 6-wheel Japanese K truck. Crazy. I love it. I love these little things. I want to see the newer ones. They gotta walk around the new K vans. Let's see. Let's see. No, I guess they don't have the. Oh, here we go. So this is one of the newer ones. You can't. I think this is one of. Yeah, you can't get these ones yet here in the U.S. because of the 25-year limit. But these are early 2000s, maybe a brand new one. I'm not gonna play the audio to find out, but these like these new ones, you can buy them, but you can't drive them on the road here in the U.S. So like the you kind of like stuck with it unless you have like a ton of property and you could just go around it like got a ranch or something. You could totally like have a ball with these things. But you see, this is my problem with the later models. They lost their charm. They lost, anything that made them interesting. At least to me anyway. I was always not into this new bubble look that they do with these Japanese cars. Like the Japanese market looks massively different than what they send over here for like the American market. Like Toyota has assembly plants here. They don't have the cars on boats. As far as I know, Honda does too, and Subaru. But I think Mitsubishi's the only one that ships theirs in. But the these things, you see, they lost their style. Look at that. It's really dull inside now. It lost all of its chutzpah that the 90s kind of gave it. But you could see here that it's got like all these controls and things like that. They managed to stuff the engine in the back still. This is where you put all your coolants and things like that. I think your wiper fluid goes in there. You might be able to put a t-shirt in there and dry it. I'm not sure you can fit much else though. But yeah, it's one of the more curious things is the big mirrors on the side. They usually don't do those truck style mirrors, but like look at how boring this is. Isn't that dull? Yeah, Honda has a plant in Tennessee. Yeah, and I'm sure that's not the only one that they have. They probably have quite a few of them. By the way, Daihatsu is Toyota. It's another Toyota company. I'm not sure if they bought them or made them, but Daihatsu is Toyota's. They're the parent company. Kind of like how Chevrolet is the parent of Buick, that kind of way. Yeah, Optimus Prime and Alita 1's teenage son. Yeah, he's going through a bit of a growth spurt right now. A little stunted in areas. But just buy a lot of I can't. Can't get them. I can't have anything here that's not made for the US market. That's what my state has ruled. So All these neat little things. Um, see, he's demonstrated here that you can lay flat these seats down. Like these have a special switch to lay them flat into the seat. So you remember Stow and Go from Dodge, where they had you origami the seat into the floor, into the underbelly of the floor, and they sacrificed the underfloor storage, like a basement in your minivan, which I don't know. When we ran the taxis, we ran the minivans because it had like a basement in it, thanks to those tubs meant to hold the seats. We just never put the seats down, so there was plenty of room to put extra luggage, tools, stuff you needed to like put out beside the vehicle if you had an accident. Some of the drivers kept their lunch in there. They put their refrigerated lunchbox, you know, the one you put the ice pack in. They put that in there, and because it's just removed from the engine, removed from the exhaust, that just stays cool-ish through most of the day, you know, even in the summer. In the winter, especially, you can put stuff down there and keep your drinks cold because it's divorced from the atmosphere of the car, of the cabin itself. But you know, Dodge with their big brains got rid of that, you know. But here's Daihatsu, which is Toyota, showing you this is how they do it with theirs: is they fold it just flat with the seats. That way, they have a simulated flat floor in the back. But looky here, now you have basically a 5.5-foot bed to like put anything in there. If you got boards, if you got furniture, your big screen TV could slide in the back of this sucker. It's a little teeny tiny solution to most problems. Unless you're a rancher or a logger or somebody that needs these huge ass trucks to do actual work, like real actual work, not cruise around the city in your lifted, you know, Dodge Ram 3500 dually, blowing smoke all over everybody, you know. If you're, you know, and I'm not discouraging anybody from doing that, but these tiny little things, they're better suited for people like me who just have a task to do. They don't, you know, I don't need a gigantic vehicle. I don't need a Halo Siege vehicle to get out and do my tasks. Lord Raptor Jesus says, I'm seriously looking to buy one of these JDM trucks. Huge fan of the way the Japanese made their cars, like the Nissan Skyline GTR, aka Godzilla. Yeah, that was a beast. I'm working on doing the RB26 swap, the G35, but yeah, I want one. Yeah, well, they're neat. They're neat, and you could do anything with them. I've seen people change them around to look like American cars. American. This is R34 Skylines are almost able to be brought over. I can't wait. Well, they're banned in Florida. That's right. You cannot register your Skyline in Florida. That has been banned. I believe it's because it can outrun the police, and they just didn't want to even have to deal with those. And that's why they got rid of it. But yeah, well, I can't help it. It's one of those things where it's like you come here and you hear about to appreciate the Japanese. I like the Japanese, not all the way, because you know every culture has their problems and stuff. But the way the Japanese approach their world image is something I like, and I think the Bushido is something that young men in the United States, you know, the under 40 crowd, myself included. Bushido is something we desperately need. And so you come to this channel, you hear about how great Japan is. Not that we need to embrace everything that Japan does, not at all. But you come here and you learn about how kind of fun they are and the neat little things that they do, and that's it. You know, I'm not over here to try to get people to move to Japan. I don't advise that as an American at all. You will not have a good time. It will not be. It's fun to visit, not to stay. Japan has a lot of weird racist, and I say racist as in like the actual kind, not like you said a joke, an off-color joke. Pardon the pun, but that's what I'm talking about. Is you know, Japan's a real drag for anybody who's not Japanese. Let's put it that way. But so, Bebop Bandicoot asks, are these effective for someone over 300 pounds and they need to commute within the city? I would say no. I would say you're better off with an American car because these are built for very small people. they're not built for Americans. Let's just check that real quick. The average Japanese height male, 2022. That's easy. That was last year. So my height, 5'7", is the average height in Japan, and then the average weight male in average weight is 138 pounds. So the average weight. So they're much smaller. You might say that the Japanese are a bit compact, if you will. And so I'm not sure that this vehicle would be able to accommodate someone that's 300 pounds and in any case over 6 feet tall, or maybe even 6 feet tall. You probably would have a hard time with it. I'm not sure that the steering compartment, like the driver's compartment, the seat will go back far enough. Not only because of the body size, but also because of the height. Like again, they're very efficient, so they're not like, oh, gee, well, what if an American gets a hold of this 25 years from now? We should plan on that. They did not do that. There's a lot of planning for what needed to happen immediately with these vehicles, and that's it. So I would say that you're probably better off with an American vehicle, maybe from the same era, maybe from the early 90s, mid 90s. They were still doing the bench seating then, and those are a heck of a lot more comfortable than these stupid racing buckets they put in everything now. Have you noticed that? Everything's got a racing seat in it now. It's all like, you're going to go to the Grand Prix between filling up your car and stopping over at Wendy's on the ride home. You're going to cross the finish line before Dale Earnhardt Jr. with your Frosty. It's it's nuts. But Red says you could fit 9 Japanese in one average American. Well, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I wouldn't advise eating them. That's not good. We don't advise. No cannibalism, please. Not here. Yeah, and see that's and that's where it is, man, is that they don't they don't really plan for this kind of stuff. They do that. They go and find the average and they suit the average and try to let the seat slide an inch or two either way to allow for people who are shorter or higher than that by only a little bit. And again, these vehicles are specialized to meet a very strict legal standard in Japan for tax shelters and insurance shelters, like special insurance. So, I mean, these aren't like, when Americans get a hold of them, we customize them. We go crazy. We go off on them. We have a great time. But the Japanese, these are very much like workhorse vehicles. They were very much built just to get back and forth through these tight little cities, and that's it. They exist on the countryside because they're good on gas mileage, and most people in the countryside of Japan aren't in a hurry to get anywhere. So the big horsepower, it's not a draw for them. This little tiny thing that gets along, gets back and forth. It does them, they're not in a hurry. Nano Reaper says 300 pounds over 5'8". No, it just doesn't work. It's, it doesn't matter how you're built, really. It's that height thing. There's nowhere for your knees to go is really the thing. There's no hood. You know what I mean? There's no bumper. It's just where the firewall is where like the headlights are, is where the grill is. There's nowhere to extend, I suppose in the vans, you could unbolt the seat and set the seat back a little bit, but that would offset the balance of the vehicle. So if you're on the right-hand side, taking a right-hand turn, it might dip a little more than usual. And if you're on a tilted road or an off-ramp, it might dump. It might go right over. So, but yeah, these newer ones, this is one of the things I hate in these things, is where they put the engine underneath seats. I absolutely hate that. Look, that's where the fuel tank, it's where the fuel filler is, right there. Little tiny thing. Wait, is this? Yeah, this is where the tire iron is, tucked underneath the seat platform. The seat platform. It's amazing. And so he's going to show you now the trick to this is that the seat clicks like that. Then there's latches underneath there, like freaking helmet latches. Oh, look, there's the whole freaking engine right under your balls. That a whole 4-cylinder engine tucked under your balls. They wonder why they have a low birth rate. It's just, I hate this. I don't know who decided this was a good idea. And I honestly think they're insane doing this, because any engine malfunction, right, is going to result in that space under your balls heating up rapidly, right? Rapidly under your balls. So not only do you deal with the engine heat pouring up into your balls, that's also the melting plastic coming up through your balls. All right. So don't do this. Don't put it under the seat. That's ridiculous. Like, look at all this shit that's moving at thousands of RPMs and it's right underneath your balls. I mean, it takes a brave man, right? It takes a brave man to put your balls right next to an alternator. Pulley and all. A serpentine belt could circumcise you, okay? This is insane. And I when I'm looking at these vehicles and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'd look to buy one of these, blah, blah, blah. I always look at this and I look for this in these things, that if the engine is under the seat, not happening. Not happening at all. We're not doing it. That terrifies me. There's like a little bit of metal there. We'll watch here. There's just a little bit of metal that makes up that hood. Look at that. And a little bit of that weird cottony fiberglass insulation to stop most of the heat from the engine, not all of it. And it's just look at all this. Like an electrical malfunction with all these wires so close to the frame. You could electrocute your balls. This is a testicular torture vehicle. That's what this is. It's a testicular torture vehicle. Amazing. Minahu says, we need to get one of these for Ciders just to see him fitting inside. I'll fit perfect. I'm 5'7". I'm the perfect size for this. I'll just go right in there. Boop. You know those games where they make the fat people try to fit through the hole in the wall, or they get knocked down into the pool of old Kool-Aid, or it could be sewage. I'm not sure. If it's sewage, it's probably China. But anyway, you know that game. That's me fitting into these K vehicles. This is why I like them so much. They're built for people my size. Like, I go out and I try to buy like a Ford Ranger. Like, let me show you this. Look at 2022 Ford Ranger. This thing is huge. Like, this isn't, they call this a small truck now. How is that small? That's a Halo Siege vehicle. Amazing. They go around, oh, it's a light truck. In what way? Asian junk is tiny. It has a lot of meanings. It has a lot of meanings. Looks like a one-way ticket. Yeah, paradise. Yeah. No, the situation here though is that, like, look at the size of this thing. They say this is a light truck, right? They say this is a light truck. It's meant to be like a 6-cylinder, jobber truck. As you can see, it's tore down. It doesn't have all these fancy gizmos and gadgets scattered all over it and a fancy paint job to make you want to pay $6,000 extra for it, But let's just go back 20 years to the 1993 Ford Ranger, and we can take a look at just how many doors is this Ford? Find a 4-door one. I didn't make one back then. Okay, so this is as close as I can get. Here we are. So just take a look, right? It's this little. Look at how much lower to the ground that is from that enormous video game siege vehicle. Look at this thing. Look at that. This can eclipse this. And these are 20 years apart. And I have no idea why this is qualified. This right here is qualified as a little light truck, as a small truck. There is nothing small about this. In fact, this looks more like it's the size of it looks like a 1993 F-150 is how big it looks. We'll just jump back into the time machine here. 1993 Ford F-150. I could type it. I know what I'm doing. But yeah, it looks... Yeah, it's about the same height off the ground as a 93 F-150. Like, look at this. You see this? Look at the height off the ground, right? Pay attention down here. Tires, bottom of you got your rocker panels to the ground, right? Floorboards to the ground. See that distance? All right. Now we'll go back over here to this thing. Look at that. It's as high as a 1993 Ford F-150. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, it's a little tiny truck bed. You get a 5.5-foot bed. You're basically buying an SUV with an open ass end so your groceries can get wet. Because that's all I just don't know who could do work with this. What are you doing with it? Are you antiquing? You could get like, I don't know, what in the back there? Maybe like a love seat in the back of that thing? That's about it. I don't understand the purpose of this thing. That's what annoys me a lot about, like, oh no, you should buy American, those small American trucks. Are you kidding me? Look at this thing. You could take out the Covenant from Halo with this. It just needs a gun turret on the back, and Master Chief would look right at home on it. Yeah, it's a Danger Ranger. That's the truth. Yeah, this one, sure, but again, like, look at the mass on this thing. I don't think that 4-cylinder is going to do it any good. Just wasting your time with that. Matt C says, I get in my father-in-law's Ford or F-150, and there's more room inside the truck than my sedan. Yeah, like your sedan could fit inside the truck. Yes. Yeah, I know. It's the truck has become like this status symbol now. It has nothing to do with functionality. It has absolutely nothing to do with the purpose of getting work done. It's just, am I going to look cool going down the main street, revving my engine, blasting the music out the windows? That's all that matters. The functionality of the vehicle is completely gone now. I suppose that's the stuff that the Cybertruck brought us, though, is, design before functionality. But that's, what are you going to do? Plastic and an AI frame? No, I'd say unibody now. Everybody's switched over to unibodies. I think this might have, like the running rails of a frame, but the majority of it's unibody now. Everything. So, it's crazy. Yeah, like Jack Stafford said, today's compact trucks are the size of the 90s full size. Yeah, that's the cafe standards. Yeah, get this. So the cafe standards are crazy to begin with. You need like a blockchain breaker in order to solve them. But so the way that they worked it out, and I guess we can thank lobbyists for this, but the bigger the vehicle, right? So take your Chevy HD 2500s, right? Your big bad mamma jammas that are basically death rectangles on the roads now. You can't even see in front of you anymore. It's gotten so high and the hoods have become so long. And so the situation with that is that the cafe standards say that doesn't have to meet a rigid gas mileage requirement. The bigger the footprint of the vehicle, meaning, I guess, the mass divided by the height and length and width of the vehicle, maybe, is that how they achieve that? But the footprint of the vehicle is what determines if it must meet certain tiers of gas mileage requirements. So take, for instance, your, like I said, that HD, that big Chevy HD, that thing does not need to make 30 miles per gallon. To the cafe standards, because it's about the size of the house of the guy that bought it, the vehicle only needs to make 15 miles per gallon. Like the Dodge Ram TRX that just came out. That only gets like 14 miles per gallon right now. And so this is what the automakers are incentivized to do. That's why you're seeing all these vehicles just progressively get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, is because on the other end of this, the smaller the vehicle, the more stringent the gas mileage requirements are on it. So take, for instance, that K truck that I showed you earlier and those K vans. If they were produced today in the American market, they'd have to do something like 45 miles per gallon. Now, they can certainly do that with their teeny tiny little engines, but they're not going to do that and meet the emission standards. Once you slap those catalytic converters on there, bye-bye gas mileage. So you got to slap some turbos on that engine that's underneath your balls. You know what I mean? This is the problem with how these cafe standards and all this dumb gas mileage regulation stuff has really just basically shit itself. It's an Ouroboros turd, a turd eating itself, if you will, a circular turd eating itself. Because it's you're gonna end up with like, what was that Simpsons commercial, the Canyonero? Remember the Canyonero? Right, that's what it was, the Canyonero. Simpsons Canyonero. Yeah, Canyonero. Yeah, here it is. You remember this.
Wow, this is roomy.
You hear the echo?
Can you name the truck with four-wheel drive? Smells like a steak and seats 35.
It seats 35. This sounds like a Suburban or an Expedition.
Canyonero, Canyonero. Well, it goes real slow with the hammer down. It's the country pride truck endorsed by a clown. Canyonero.
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 Hey, hey! The Federal Highway Commission has ruled the Canyonero unsafe for highway or city driving.
It's ruled the Canyonero unsafe for highway or city driving. Hey. Look at it!
12 yards long, 2 lanes wide, 65 tons of American pride. Canyonero. Canyonero. Top of the line in utility sports. Unexplained fires are a matter for the courts. Canyonero. Canyonero. She blinds everybody with a super high beam. She's a squirrel, squasher, deer, smack, and driving machine. Canyonero. Canyonero. Ah! Canyonero. Yeah!
Highway Commission.
That sounds like Tom from Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's funny. Nano Reaper says the Ranger, Colorado, that whatever the Canyon, Ram 1500, Silverado, F-150, Tacoma, Tundra, Nissan Frontier, body on frame. Okay, body on frame. All right. Yeah, that's what you're looking at, though. The Canyonero is what the future of American motor cars are. Is that just in order to keep avoiding those insane cafe standards for anything smaller than, I don't know, a rolling island, you pretty soon you're going to see like a battleship size thing start careening down the freaking highway, guns and all, but aircraft carrier size buses, that's just what they're going to do, because the cafe standards keep progressing forward, because President Obama and then his successors in the EPA were not stupid when it came to screwing over people, screwing over the American populace on every front using the EPA. So these cafe standards, they become tighter and tighter as you go, unless you have a bigger vehicle. So they just progressively make the vehicles bigger, and then they don't have to meet the new tier of MPG standard, right? And so that's what the future is. It's 2 lanes wide, 1,600 tons of American pride, that kind of thing, just this an Abrams tank with spinner rims, you know? Got a golf ball up on top of the radio antenna. No, we don't have those anymore. Never mind. What's a radio? This is what my problem is that the government, our government, the United States government, and our local governments and our governors, particularly mine, they want people to switch over to electric cars to, stop the fuel consumption and things like that. But electrical grid can't handle it up here. And I don't know too many Mainers that can afford an electric car of any standard, right? Of any size, let alone the electricity bill to deal with it. They just went up 100% on our transmission rates up here in Maine, statewide. So that's if you draw power at all, the rate at which they charge you to deliver that power has now gone up 100% on us, all right? And this is their kind of thing, is that they're just going to make it so you can't own a car at all and you're stuck. So you got to move into these 15-minute cities. And that's why I'm upset about this, like not letting us have these teeny tiny little cars, is that these little import things from Japan. It's like you're going to let people go around in rat rods and all this other stuff. But you're going to make sure the stuff that has actual like 50 mile per gallon vehicles, you're going to make sure those can't be on the road for whatever bullshit safety reason you're going to invent. Because as soon as the Chinese electric cars get here, they're going to go ape over them. They're going to go ape shit over them. You and I both know they're going to do it. And that's what we're looking at, though, is the Chinese cars aren't going to meet any standards. You know that. They're going to do everything they can to get around those standards. That's what, Chinese businesses are all about on the home front. I can't imagine their exports are going to be any different. So you're going to end up with electric cars that burn up like the Canyon Arrow, until they invent some standard for the electric cars that make it even more difficult to get a hold of them and own them. Kind of like with California. If you don't know, by the way, among the other stupid things in California, in 2030, I think it's what it is, 2030, California bans sale of gas cars. Yeah, by 2035, you will not be able to purchase a new gas-powered vehicle in California. That's where it is right here. You can see it. Zoom in so we can all see this. Yep. This rule bans the sale of new gas-powered vehicles by 2035. Now, that's also with Ireland that banned the sale. Ireland, the whole country, the whole country banned the sale of new gas-powered vehicles at 2035. So that's what it is. Now, if you're a savvy business person, right, why not go out and buy a whole bunch of cars and, put a couple miles on them? Then they're used and take them over to California. Charge double the sticker price for them. It's not like Californians are too bright, right? They live in California willingly. But yeah, that's what it is. So if you live in California, it's time to get going. Unless you really feel like being mandated to buy an electric car, because this is how it starts. They tell you, oh no, we're not going to allow you to buy a gas-powered vehicle. Then a new one. Then they ban you from being able to own one at all. Then when you get your electric car, they just ban drivers altogether. Because we're too dangerous, you see. And our cars can drive us everywhere. Even to the police station when we misbehave. Good little cars, taking us where we belong. Unlike the Canyon Arrow, destroying the universe. Coal, gas, an option? I don't think so. Ford unveiled a ammonia-powered engine last week, but nobody got excited about that. It's like that methane-powered car that they built a few years ago. I don't forget which company it was, but nobody was excited about a fart-powered car. Maybe Taco Bell, and Golden Corral, but I don't think anybody else was. Crash Bandicoot says, "Behold, I give you the electric socialist utopia." Yeah, the ESU. Yep. Why not? The electric one that runs on coal, Hydroelectric plants don't make that much power here, and we sell most of our wind power generation to Canada. I know that because in Maine, we have 3 of them. We have 3 wind power farms here, and they all sell their energy to Canada, up to Montreal. Then Montreal sells it back to freaking New York. I just... Reality is so stupid, man. Like, every now and then I'm thinking, oh, we live in a simulation, and then shit like this happens, and I'm like, no. That's too stupid. Reality's not that dumb. Reality's not that dumb. That's impossible. But time and time again, I'm proven wrong. Reality is, in fact, that dumb. But they do make these cool little racer style K-trucks. They modify them. They stick a Kawasaki engine in them usually, and you get this. You get these little neat buggers that tear ass all over the place, and so this is their modification thing. We'll skip around because I just want to show you the cool parts of the thing. But come on, there we go. You see, this is a modified truck. You can buy these right out of Japan. We'll stop over at the auction thing after they're done showing this off. But just look at this thing. Look at that. You see, it's even got the drag shift. No, not the drag shift. That's the e-brake. The whammy e-brake. Slap it. There it goes. Just doing donuts. This little guy go. Look at him go. He's holding on. Look at him. I love it. Look at that. It's like the size of a refrigerator. It's a little bigger than a chest freezer. Just tearing ass out there. Look at him. I love it. But how can you not want to build one of these things? How can you not want to modify this thing all to hell? And look, he's still got the truck bed intact. It's not full of engine and exhaust. You could still do labor with that. You're not like climbing hills like that other 6-wheeled sucker. But you're uh-oh. Okay. That was close. But yeah, no, these things they kick ass, man. They're amazing little vehicles. They're compact. You can do all these crazy things with them because they're so simple. This is one of the things that annoys me with the newer trucks is that there's just so much technology on board. You got an infotainment system, GPS controls. The thing has a brain to drive itself, part-time hybrid. The engine shuts itself off at traffic lights and starts itself back up when you push the ignition again, push the accelerator again. I just need a truck, man. I don't need a babysitter with 4-wheel drive, okay? I just need a truck. That's all I need. Well, I mean, you look at the cloud of tire smoke coming through that cab. The mask might not be totally useless. But I don't know. We should have a racing league of these things. NASCAR needs to get on this. The K-Truck racing circuit. NASCAR sponsored racing circuit. But so here's the secret, right? It's not much of a secret. People don't usually talk about this too much, I guess. I don't know why, but if you don't know, you do now. There is a website that handles the purchasing and shipping of these things to ports, mind you, to ports. You have to find your own way out of there. But you can buy these direct out of Japan. Direct. No problem at all. All right? So we take a look at this thing. This is pretty cheap. I don't know why. Something gone on with it. Maybe. I don't know. It has 29,000 kilometers on it. So let's see. So that's probably like 9,000 miles because you adjust kilometers to miles. So I don't know what happened. Sometimes in Japan, they'll buy these things for construction jobs, and then that's it. They don't use them again. They just get stuffed somewhere, and that's where they live forever. So there's this little thing right here, just I assume rusted from being left out in the elements wherever it got parked. And that's that, you know? It lived its life. May have been flooded. Could be why it's cheap, is that may have been flooded. But either way, you can get that delivered to Baltimore. Delivered in Baltimore with insurance, mind you, with insurance for $3,849. All right? That little truck comes right into there for that. It's amazing. You take a look at that. You see this? Look at this little thing. Look at that little guy. See where it's kind of rusted out here? Got some rust down here. Seats beat the hell out of it. I'm not really sure what it's used for, but it only has 29,000 kilometers on it. It's like 9,000 miles, but whatever those 9,000 miles were, they fucking sucked, apparently. But and also you can you have your little holes for your modular switches. You don't have to cut holes in your dash to add like KC lights onto the thing, or a big old light bar, and I don't know, subwoofers, a turbo if you want, whatever. You put little gauges down there. There's plenty of room to do stuff. But this is a website called carfromjapan.com, and I'll just put the link in the chat if you guys want to poke around. I encourage you rather to go and check out your state's laws regarding if you can drive these vehicles on the road or not, if you can have anything to do with them or not. It's a bit of a challenge to kind of get the rundown from your average town office. They don't know. So your Bureau of Motor Vehicles is probably the best place to check, the department, whatever you go by in your state. So check with them. They probably don't have a list of banned vehicles. They'll just tell you that, like my state just says flat out, if it's a Japanese domestic import vehicle, we don't allow it to drive on the roads. So that's just across the board. It doesn't matter what you import. You cannot drive it on the road in Maine if it's made for the Japanese market and not the American market. That's it. Done. So the New York has they don't want the trucks, but apparently they're okay with the vans. They're okay with the other Japanese vehicles, but the little mini trucks, I guess they're worried about. I don't know why, because when it comes to New York City, making deliveries in these teeny tiny little things sounds a hell of a lot easier than trying to get your UPS truck through there, or God forbid, an 18-wheeler. But this website, it's got you can narrow down your results. I'm just looking at the little tiny things right now. You can get into the bigger stuff like let's see, minivan. It'll narrow them down. These are still the K trucks in through here, and okay, what are we doing? Van minivan. You're gonna do it. Does the same thing again. Cool. That's neat. Let's try hatchbacks then. All right. So as you can see, just about anything's available here. They even have like Western cars over here as well. So you get a Subaru Impreza for $71,000, mind you, but I don't think you can get it for that stateside. And you got to remember, these things have to be under the year 1999 in order to be road ready for 2024. Okay, so you get $39,000 for this other Impreza, this '97 Impreza. You got a Nissan Faraday for $13,000 with only, let's see how many miles are on this thing. 45,000 kilometers, dude. That's like 25,000 miles on this thing. Look at this. Yeah, it needs a paint job, but holy wow. Straight out of Japan, man. 3,000 cubic centimeter engine. It's an automatic too. Look at that. You probably You get away with driving that thing, it probably wouldn't kill you. It's amazing. I don't know what AT is, but it's cool. Oh, wait. Apparently only the drivers? Oh, is this you can fold the mirrors with controls? Wow. That's handy. Oh, cool. So there's these controls. Look at this. Check this out. The controls are right there, right next to the driver. They're not on the driver's dash, but they're right there next to the user console. And like, we'll back a little bit here so you can see this. Like, look at that control console up here. You see this? This control console? That's what we were just looking at. That control console has controls for digital readout, by the way, for your air conditioning and amb, whatever amb is. You could adjust your fan stuff. Here's your wiper controls, totally divorced from your directionals. That's amazing. Look at the engineering in this. Look at that. That's crazy. You can even it's push button off economy and record maybe. Is this like cruise control? Maybe that's cruise control. I just dig that the washer controls are just right here. They're just the wiper and washer controls are right there. Yeah, that's a twin turbo. Yeah, she's a beast. The beast. I just dig all these little things that they come up with. Like, here's the mirror control right in the center console there. Amazing. Just all the little places they thought to stash stuff. Oh, what's over here? Ah, there's the cruise control on and off. You got your fog lights on and off here, your rear defrosters, your console light control. Oh, your high beams, your light controls, your high beams, low beams, height controls are all over here on the dash, mounted into the dash. Wow. That's amazing. That I don't know. That's really clever. Never would have thought to do that. But yeah, you got those. Wow, look at those bucket seats, man. Holy crap. Talk about crushing your balls. Where's apparently men are not supposed to sit in the back of this thing. Wow. But yeah, like this website has all sorts of neat little stuff on it. See what we could dig up for Hondas here. In the hatchback thing. It's like the Honda logo. The Honda Today. Woo, look at this Honda Civic. This is straight out of Fast and the Furious. You could get this for $33,000 delivered. Delivered for $33,000 to your local port. Wow. This is like real deal Fast and the Furious shit, man. That's like the plastic on the seats. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. Damn. The rims, all that. Everything's got all these crazy colors in there. The calipers, the shoes, the rotors, all of it. That's weird. Oh, the interior. My gosh. This is full Fast and the Furious. Wow. Wow, they even painted the engine bay. Holy cow, that is awesome. Wow. You can find this stuff. It's just hanging out there. You know, if your state can have it, you know, it's just hanging out there. Wow, dude. Look at this. Get yourself a hot little 1970 Honda N360 for $13,000 delivered to Maryland. Look at that. Look at that little sucker. Look at that. I think the engine's in the back too on this thing. Maybe. Nope. It's in the front. Look at that. You can fit like a loaf of bread in there. maybe your golf clubs can fit in there. And then the interior is just like shoe leather brown. That is 19. Oh, wow. I bet that's comfortable, though. You remember those seats? Remember those? They put like leather couches in those seats. You remember that? Remember that? Amazing. Yeah, that's the other thing is that the radios that you get in these vehicles, no matter what year, you got to replace them because Japan functions on a way lower megahertz bandwidth. Most of the 1000 stations, so like 101.9, excuse me, the 100 stations, like 101.9, those ones operate at a higher bandwidth. Excuse me, those ones are occupied for their television signals in Japan. So the majority of radio is down in the 900s, and the 90s, excuse me, and the 80s and the 70s. And so their radios can't pick up a lot of our signals unless you're like maybe AM, but I doubt it. This is another neat feature of the Japanese vehicles. I don't see them on European cars too much, and in America, it's completely unheard of. But these mirrors being way up here really allow the driver to be able to see down behind them when they're pulling out of a parking space. And it makes parallel parking a hell of a lot easier too, because you can see the majority of your vehicle to line up your vehicle with the vehicle you're parking in front of. So you know, obviously it's been done away with most cars, but I always think it's really neat when you see the rear view mirrors up on up on the front fenders like that. Those are fun little touches from the land of the rising sun. You can see all these neat little Civics are apparently popular. Wow, look at that. 1987 CRX. Wow. Wow. This feels like it's straight out of Initial D, dude. Like this would be chasing Takashi down the mountain. Wow. He's got a big old fart can on the back of it. Look at that. I hate the fart cans, dude. I really do. It's the most annoying thing about ricers is these little ricers are the guys that are you serious right now? It has like a jump seat in the back. Are you serious right now? That's nuts. This is what Honda's hybrid is based off of, by the way. This is the CRZ or whatever. That Honda hybrid roadster thing. This is where it was born out of. This right here. This little badass bastard. I love it. Yeah, right. Back when they used to make them for the US. You can't get a hold of them anymore, you know? Can't get a hold of them anymore. See, a Honda City? A Honda City. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Let me jump over here and see if we've got a Honda City. Honda City. Oop. Let's go to hatchback. Maybe that's... Aha. Yes. You like the 1985 version? Look at this little guy. They didn't have enough room to put the Honda badge in the center of the thing. It's so tiny. Wow, that's like a computer mouse of a car. Look at that. Look at this little bastard. Oh, I bet it goes like hell though. I bet you put your foot into this thing, I bet it takes off. I like the interior though. That's a lot more inventive than brown shoe leather, that's for sure. Take a look at the newer option. This is 1992. They went 11,000 for it to bring it to the US. Amazing. It's not as stellar as the 80s one, I'll tell you that. This one's probably like one of those very simple versions. Yeah. It's the Honda City. Love it. Cute little bastard. But yeah. This again, it's like I hang out on this website. I can't have anything here. I'm like a kid at the candy store that has like diabetes. I can't have it. Can't touch it. This is the part where Cider starts talking about Sega. Well, I can. I am making my own video game. It's just gonna take a while, like everything else, you know. It's to go with Fling, the little monkey guy I showed off on Finn's stream there. But yeah, these little Honda things. Mitsubishi tends to have some neat domestic side stuff, like the Mitsubishi Panjero, whatever they call it. These are again like a little tiny off-roader doodad, 4-wheel drive, gets you to where you need to go, but little tiny engine in it, not much of an engine, and a little 660 cc, probably a 3-cylinder. But I mean, look at it. Look at the. It's very chic, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's very chic compared to today, where everything is just, thrown around. It's all black interior. It's pieced together from leftover parts of other things. You get this big old refrigerator door opening on the back of the thing so you can set in 2 grocery bags. Most useless back seat in the world. Might as well just keep it down all the time. But yeah, I mean, look at that little bugger. And see, it's also got that mirror up on the front end again. You could see it here in the pictures. You see the mirror up here, right here. It's got that, so you could pull out into traffic from a parking space without being in the middle of like somebody's, day. The programmer, let me know if I can help. Absolutely. I'm just doing the development of like the flow of what the game is supposed to go like right now. That way I can talk to somebody about what I want rather than be like, oh, look at this, look at that. Right now I just need to plot out the events of the video game, what's going to happen in it, so I could tell somebody what I need. Matt C says, surely companies like Citroën and Volvo put out mean mini trucks for the Euro market. No. I think Volvo puts out this. The only truck they put out is for the big livery, like hauling stuff. They don't. Yeah. Volvo truck. Yeah. Yeah, this is their lineup, and none of that looks like it's mini in any way, shape, or form. This is their electric ones at that. So if they were going to make a mini one, electric would have been part of that lineup. But let me just search it. Mini truck. There's one built out of Legos. And that's neat, right? Little tiny. Doot. This is the size of an Isuzu. Like one of those box trucks that delivers, to the drug dealers. Little tiny Isuzu. But yeah, they don't appear to have anything mini from Volvo. Try Citroën, however you say it. Citroën. There's a concept of a little tiny fella, but I'm not sure I would be caught dead driving around in that thing. They got a delivery van, but not too mini about it. Kind of looks a little beastly, in fact, like something 1930s. I don't know. Spooky. Okay, there's this little tiny thing. It's Amy, the little Amy. The little Amy here. That's neat. Little, for whoever needs that. But oh, cool. So you can I don't know, put packages in your car because you need to. Maybe it's a good mail car. Maybe is that what this is? Oh, it's the updated thing to this thing. Wow. So it's a little panel car. You remember the Chevy HHR? That's what this is the Chevy HHR, just European-y. You drove a Peugeot in France with like 20 camera sensors on it. Felt like a Panopticon on 16-inch wheels. Yeah, the Peugeot is a little strange. They're one of those ones that push the boundaries and then I don't know, forget the rest of the car. I've seen people like dismantle a Peugeot just by like pulling on it, pulling on parts of it, and it just pop comes right off. Like, oh no, that's not supposed to do that. Zuckerberg! Oh no, he pulled the fender off. Wow, that is ugly. That is supremely ugly. Goodness gracious, sakes alive. And it's hot red on the interior. Oh my, it's fire engine red like that. Imagine driving that. It'd be like you remember Batman Beyond? Nobody screenshot my search history. You understand me? Yeah, it's like being inside the Batmobile. Yeah, see? It's like being inside the Batmobile. Can't imagine. Gosh, that must be horrible. But these days they're the cars are looking a little different these days. So the K-vans have decided they want to be camper vans as well. You can see here you got your little camper place, a little flattened out. Apparently has a canopy you can unroll from it, a little space to be, I guess. A little camper van situation. Apparently you can cater out of this thing or something. Run a little food business. I've seen food trucks, by the way. These K-truck food truck. Look at this. Isn't this neat? They took the little K trucks, they turned them into food trucks. You have this 45 mile per gallon little bastard that pulls you around, and the bun fun van. I don't know what goes on in there. He seems pretty serious about buns though. But a lot of them they'll build like the usable space right into the side of the vehicle and stand outside, serve customers, and get back in the vehicle and either warm up, cool down, however it is for the wintertime. And I don't know what this is. Some type of bar, maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe you get served drinks here. It looks like there'd be drinks here. I have to ask Dart. There's a sink, so I assume that you're being served drinks here. It's pretty fancy. And then this is from Facebook that fucks up all of its images because Mark Zuckerberg's a bitch. But you see, you got a noodle truck, just flat black noodle truck, blend in with the night, noodles in the shadows, shadow noodle. But then look at that, this is cool as shit, man. Look at that, I love it. I want to buy food out of that. I don't even know what the hell it sells. And I want to buy food out of it. It's great. It's an amazing idea. You see, like I said, they build like the cooking system or the ice cream right there out of the back of the truck right there. You got all your necessities. But this is what they look like, just completely undecorated, unfurnished, that kind of thing. And it's just like all of the opportunities we're missing because we don't have vehicles like these in the US. Like these are perfect for your stupid little like your outdoor concert spaces, where they sell tickets for people to sit in the grass for half a mile, 2 miles while a concert goes on. These trucks are great because you can fit like 30 or 40 of them into where like the regular trucks, the regular full-size trucks, like 20 of them would sit, So you've got this huge food court now available for your guests that are here for the live show. But no, we're going to keep to our giant ass fucking ex-UPS truck things because that makes perfect fucking sense, I guess. I don't know. Just, drive-by bartendering. Exactly. Annoys the shit out of me. Jack Stafford says, there's a class of cars in Europe that teenagers can get a license to drive at limited speed. That doesn't surprise me. But, as we went over shifter, they're like 5.7, so That's my height. So I mean, these would be perfect for me. But whatever. I'm short. I accept it. That's why I'm trying to find vehicles that accentuate my shortness. You're only as short as your truck makes you look, okay? That's you're only as short as your truck makes you look. Look at that. But yeah, I mean, they even make fire trucks out of these things in Japan. Because you can't get a full-size fire truck around the corners of these places, so they build these little tiny fire trucks to go and save the day. And they do, because they carry all the equipment of the big ones. It just takes 7 of these things to do two American-sized fire trucks. And you got your mobile coffee lab here. I don't know. We're just missing out on so much opportunity here in the US with these things because car companies want to stick to these things. These gigantic fucking delivery trucks. Sure, it works out great for, a guy that wants to, have a full-blown restaurant in a vehicle, rolling restaurant. That's great. You could put off like 7 or 8 different meals out of this big old truck right here. You put like 3 different, 5 different, 6 different, meals together inside of this vehicle. Whereas this little bastard over here, where did you go? Yeah. This little thing right here, you might be able to do 2 different meals in there, maybe. That's just the space that you've got to store that stuff. And the prep would be like right there on the counter in front of the customer, you know? But that's, again, it's all in what you want to do with it. It's all in what you want to accomplish with it. It's not, um, I'm not telling you that this is the only way it can be done. I'm just tired of this. I'm just tired of these gigantic ass delivery trucks and stuff like that that take up so much space. These huge freaking diesel engines. It's sucking up all this fuel to move around. It's a waste of gas, man. Just get a smaller truck and offer 2 or 3 meals. Most of the time, food trucks usually only sell out of 3 menu items. The rest of them, most people don't want. You got to have a real banging food truck if you've got every item on your menu selling out, you know? Like Gordon Ramsay's food truck. Yeah, this thing right here. Need more of this. Cool ass thing. I love it. Yeah, full blown. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Hamburger and a Coke. Yep. Doesn't beat it. You can put a fry-later in one of those little guys. You're good to go too. You know, you got your fries. You put mozzarella sticks in there if you want to. Put a chest freezer on the back end of it. And there you go. You're good to go. But again, like it's all in what you want to do. It's all in what you want to do. If you want to have a big old delivery truck, like an American style food truck, sure. I don't say that that's a bad thing. In my opinion, I just think it's overkill. I think that it does a lot worse for your business by having this gigantic space. Unless, you're one of those guys that's like your food truck is your life. So if you're leaving the live event and you're going to go down and hang out the rest of the night into the morning at the construction site that's going on all night long, a road construction they do at night. So you're there to give them hot coffee, hot sandwich or whatever. Yeah, I guess if you're one of those guys that you live in your food truck through most of the summer, most of the food truck season, if you will. Yeah, the bigger rig will work for you. But if you're somebody that just goes to these live events, like a racetrack, baseball game, concerts, those kind of things, these little trucks are perfect. And they're way more, I don't know, friendlier to the consumer because you end up having like a multitude of them that could take the space of like 4 or 5 trucks. You could maybe fit 7 or 8 of the mini trucks in there. Then you've got all different options than those 3 or 8 that were in there, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I don't understand why the US resists these small vehicles. We were doing really good for a while there, and then I don't know what happened around like 2014, but we just stopped making small vehicles. It was that. Around 18 or 19, Ford and Chevy and Dodge canceled all of their cars, all their sedans. So they're only making XUVs now and trucks. The Ford Mustang survived, the Corvette and Camaro survived. The Charger won't. From my understanding, they're getting rid of the Charger. but I never understood the purpose of a four-door Charger, so that's just me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm especially annoyed that my state won't let me have one of these. I live in Maine. There's 1.2 million people. I'm not odds of me having a head-on collision in that thing are pretty slim, right? In a regular old K truck are pretty slim. Not that it's springy or excuse me, spritey or agile or able to dodge other vehicles or whatever, but it's 1.2 million people. It's very hard. It's very hard to have an accident in Maine. That's just. Oh no, I've looked up these EPA bans on small trucks. That's what happens. That's what happens. The EPA is outlawing these things left and right because they're fuel efficient. They get like 45, 47 miles per gallon. That's actual American miles per gallon. They get that, that's crazy. That's a huge amount. We don't have American vehicles that do that right now. But for some reason, we're just not interested in doing it. And again, like, I get the horsepower thing. Yeah, great, cool. Then put a bigger engine in one of them. We do that already. You buy your base Mustang and you can buy a GT. You buy your base Camaro, you can buy your Super Sport. Do it with the truck. You do it already with the Ranger and the Colorado. And is the Dakota coming back? I don't know. But I know the Subaru Brat's going to have it, and the Toyota Stout. I think it's what it's called is a Stout. They're competitors for the Ranger. Those are going to have like larger power plant options. So I don't understand why you wouldn't do that with these things. Why you wouldn't make available like, the one that's nice on gas, but it's not going to outrun the mailman, but then you can also have the ones that are like turboed out and, have weight cut out of them and whatnot that are built to go and, fast, but I don't know. You talk to people about them, they'll tell you like it's really cute, it'd be really neat. Yeah, they can make use of it. It's it's a handy vehicle to have, sure, but it just doesn't. For some reason, it just doesn't come here. Our car makers don't want to engage in this. There wasn't for a little bit there. The Dodge Ram van, the cargo van, was doing a cutoff version that wasn't too bad for a mini truck, but man, it just they didn't put a truck body on it, a truck bed on it. So you had to not only make your own back wall and rear view window with the thing and seal it, by the way, you had to source your own truck bed to put on the back of it and maybe make modifications so the frame lined up appropriately. And by then, you might as well just go buy a pickup truck. You might as well just do it. What's the point? This is why I like these things, is that $7,000, you can have a vehicle with 23,000 miles on it from 25 years ago, mind you. With 23,000 miles on it, all-wheel drive, 45 miles per gallon, and yet my government is just horrified at the idea of anything from the Japanese domestic market even touching the asphalt of my state. And I just don't understand. But you talk to the senators and representatives inside of the state about it, and they're like, "Oh, I had no idea that passed." Thanks, pal. Appreciate it. Really keeping an eye out for the people, huh? Doing your job, staying up to date on the things you're voting on or voting against. It's real nice of you. Appreciate it. It is truthfully amazing. But, I want to make my own truck. Someday I would like to make my own vehicle. The vehicle market in the US sucks right now, in my opinion, out loud. I am beyond bewildered by just how repetitive and useless the government, the car makers in the US have become in recent years, especially with trucks. absolutely lazy when it comes to trucks, and I don't truthfully understand why. But so this is what I'm working on. I hired a designer in Japan to come up with just a front and back of the manual bebop. The manual bebop. Um, I like bebop. I like the little bebop. It's a bebopper. But again, it would just occupy the same size as like that Ford Ranger from the 90s. A truly small truck. Probably probably a 6 foot bed on the back of it. And it has a dump latch and a hinge so you can dump the body out the back there. Because again, I want it to be a truck that you can use. It's not just to cruise around. It's not supposed to cruise around town, right? It's not supposed to be a showpiece. So the Bebop has a rear tailgate that goes down flat, comes completely flat down the back. So that way, when you pull the dumper out, it doesn't have like a ramp or anything to like catch rocks or dirt or whatever you're dumping out the back. It's just completely flat, flush with the back. It falls flat. So the handles are on the back, so you can just are always spread out on either side. So when you grab that latch and release, you can guide it down against the back so it doesn't chip your fancy orange bumper and slaps down. And of course, the big back window so you can see a lot out back. Now, I know that like it might not be awesome having all that glass right there, so people just look right in to your back of your head. But I can tell you, when you're backing up, man, having the most vision possible out that rear window is never going to be a bad thing. And again, I'm going to have more design work done with the manual bebop, but the main goal of this is to like put together blueprints, design work for a 4-cylinder truck. It's an automatic, obviously, all-wheel drive, full-time all-wheel drive on it, and the manual bebop. It's just a truck. That's the slogan. It's just a truck. It doesn't have an infotainment system. It doesn't talk to you. It doesn't drive itself. It doesn't shut off at intersections. It's just a truck. You start it up, you put it in gear, you go to work. That's all. It's not there. It has a backup camera and a GPS in the dash, touchscreen GPS in the dash. You can't talk to it. You got to touch it and wherever you're going to go. All right. It's, I don't understand why we need all this crap. You don't need a 17-inch laptop monitor in the middle of your truck dash. What are you doing for work that you need? Like, if you look at the back window, there'd just be like laptop screen looking through there. So I don't understand why you need this gigantic laptop screen in the middle of your dash. I don't understand why you need it to drive itself. I don't understand why you need it to talk to you. I don't understand the majority of the technology that's in it now. Like around 2007 was probably the end of the necessary safety features added to vehicles. But either way. Is what it is. Sorry, just catching up with the chat. Half track? Nope. Yeah, no. I just my family used to call little cars and little trucks beboppers. It's just something my mother and father just assigned to small vehicles. Oh, that's a cute little bebopper. Well, ain't that a cunning little bebopper right there? That wasn't really official name. And Manuel comes from my grandfather on my mother's side, and he was a tractor mechanic, self-taught diesel tractor mechanic, way back in the 50s and 60s. And so, he taught her how to work on cars and trucks and things like that. He had 5 daughters. He tried for his son, but he gave up. It's like 5. It's like, okay, I get it. But my mother was like the middle child out of the 5, if you can, the middle child out of the 5. And so she picked up how to work on vehicles and whatnot. And that's really what my father enjoyed about her the most, is that he didn't have to bring her up to speed on what needed to happen for them to run a business together. She kind of got most of it, So that's why I thought I'd honor my grandfather on the maiden side, if you will, the manual bebop. And they pronounce it manual, right? Manual, not manual. Even though it is from Portugal. But it's manual. And if you say manual, right, and you translate that directly, that's Man Christmas. So that's what the car company's name is Man Christmas. You give this, if your wife goes and buys you the manual bebop, it's Christmas for you, Mr. Man Christmas. But I like it. And this designer was very excited, so we're probably going to get back at it again and continue working on it. But it was recommended to me, I think, by Sager. I don't know if he's still around or not. I think it was recommended by Sager. Family. Exactly, Metzi. But he recommended that I use the crowdfunding to put together a comic book series that involves the truck as like the hero truck, not like Kit where it talks to you or whatever, but kind of like Bandits Trans Am, the General Lee, Ecto One, like the hero car, the vehicle that the good guy drives and does cool stuff in, and then make a comic book series about it, build up enough money to build a prototype, then go to Kickstarter and, put the money together to build more than one prototype and give people, the option to buy the whole shebang if they want, Then I can go to investors with, 2 different prototypes, show them the van concept and the truck concept and get the manual motor company off the ground through Kickstarter, huh? How about that? A crowd-funded mini truck for the U.S. It sounds kind of fun, huh? Yeah. Maybe if they're like teenage soccer players, maybe, maybe. No wonder Cider hates the Transformers movies. Well, it's also because Michael Bay just has like destruction porn, and I get bored of it. I like the Super Sentai stuff is like the little miniature buildings blowing up, and I'm like, oh wow, that's some good craftsmanship. Wow, they blew that one up to make it look kind of real. Pretty cool there. Nope, the whole wall just collapsed in there, and you saw the dynamite case. When Michael Bay does it, it's just really sickening. I'm not into that destruction porn stuff. It's neat sometimes, but man, that guy is just straight up overkill with the needless death and explosion stuff. I'm glad he's done making them. The new Transformers one though is god awful. I don't understand how you insert racism into Transformers, right? They're literally robots from another planet that bleed plasma. They eat plasma. So they're like vampires, I guess. I don't know, but I just don't understand. Drake Tungsten says, yeah, the EPA or whatever would shut you down. Well, again, if I meet those cafe standards for this tiny truck, that's the thing. And I can. It's not going to be some super powerful racer thing. You can probably tune it up to do that. But, you put a twin turbo on the thing and a part-time hybrid system, and it might be able to do 60 miles per gallon or so. But the twin turbo anyway will accomplish the current, I think it's 42, 43, 45, somewhere in the neighborhood, miles per gallon that little tiny cars have to get. And that's plausible with a little vehicle like this. It's just that as Americans, we're used to these gigantic things. Because as I showed you, like back in the 90s, we had reasonably sized vehicles, where somebody my height could do work on an F-150, could get looking into the engine bay even. Today, I need a step ladder to do that, right? And I know 6'4" is not the average American height. I know that isn't the average height. I know 5'7" isn't either. But that happy medium is hell and gone from where I can even do service to my own vehicle without having Spider-Man powers to climb up on top of the hood and crawl in and build a base camp to get to the air filter, But that's the point of this: is you see how low it is. See how you like my height. I can lean over that and work on that. And that, somebody 6 feet tall, sure, that's gonna suck for you. You probably sit in a chair next to it and work on it, right? But it's just what it is. Yeah, those small electric cars are super. Yeah, well, that's the point. They're just full of batteries, man. They're so heavy, and that's just you could stack the horsepower into it certainly, but it's just going to be sheet metal and a frame, couple of seats and a radio. It's not. It's just a truck. Bebop Bandicoot says, just wait until they do the Unicron trilogy, Cider, after they've milked the Beast Wars franchise into oblivion. Yeah, I have no idea how they're going to do Unicron now that Cybertron has been like sliced in half by a wormhole, because that's supposed to be Primus. Primus is supposed to be Cybertron, and he transforms and beats the hell out of Unicron. Isn't that how it goes? Or am I getting the action figure line mixed up? I thought Primus was the planet. He transformed to beat Unicron's ass. Oh well. They'll stick some stupid rap song behind it, undoubtedly. Drake Tungsten says, yeah, I've done a little work on my car. Just put a new starter on it 3 years ago. Yeah, working on stuff, who knew. A lot of us guys were just not allowed to like ask these questions anymore because you're afraid you're going to get shamed or whatever. But I mean, we really do best when we work with our hands, when we are being industrious. This is how we process our thoughts and emotions and ideas of the world, is while we're working. It's just how our brains work. And for some reason, well, we know why, but a lot of young people, a lot of guys my age, just don't have any concept. 89% of millennials don't know how to change their tire or oil, have no freaking clue how any of that works. They don't own power tools even. They don't unclog their own damn toilets. They call the Roto-Rooter man when they got a turd sideways rather than whipping out the plunger and going to town on the thing. Nope. Completely lost on them. It's just where we're at, That's why having a simple truck like this is important. Because when those guys finally get around to figuring out how life actually works, and they got to have a skill, this truck being like accessible to the average man, like, oh yeah, that's where the dipstick goes. That's the air filter. And one of these doohickeys here is a spark plug. As long as you keep it simple, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. The user will be able to take care of the vehicle. And that's the point, partially the point of making something so simple is that, you got to be able to fix it yourself. Like right now, your electric car, something goes wrong with it, it's got to get on the back of a flatbed. Here in Maine, there's only one Tesla dealer, and that's 2 hours from where I live at 65, 70 miles an hour, okay? It's 2 hours from where I am at that speed, okay? So if you consider for a minute what that actually means in the long run, right? The people in my area that own these things, they have to pay a tow bill every time there's something wrong with the vehicle. And sometimes that can be as simple as it not being able to connect to the GPS monitor. So it doesn't know where it is. So it won't go anywhere. So you gotta put your electric car on a truck, send it 2 hours south to have a man with a computer restart your system. Yeah. I mean, obviously you have to be rich to own these things. That's the only way. But meanwhile, this little Bebop, the manual Bebop, you could just do maintenance yourself. You could change the oil yourself. You can change the air filter yourself. You can change the spark plugs. You can take out the cylinder sleeves. You can replace the pistons yourself. It'd be a pain in the ass because you really got to disassemble the engine, get down into the guts to do it. But you can take them out, replace them, put a new gasket, put a head gasket on it, whatever. I wouldn't advise fucking with like the coolant system, but if you got a better idea, sure, go for it. But that's the point. Is that these you're not able to do anything to your vehicles anymore. There's a law that the EPA is trying to get passed right now. It's called the RPM law, and the RPM law is to ban the aftermarket race modification of vehicles. So you can't up the horsepower of your factory Honda Civic. It would be illegal to even sell the parts to do it with the RPM law. This is where we're at. This is America now, where you can't make your car faster. It's illegal to make your car faster. Why? Because some stooge in the government is fucking a baby dick coward that doesn't want to go over 50 miles an hour because, I don't know, some fucking South American seagull may go extinct. I don't know. Yeah, race modification. Yeah, right. Rachel Dolezal going to be the hardest hit by the RPM law. Does it work in principle? What, the truck? Yeah, of course it works in principle. It's a truck. It's a truck. But yeah. That's that. So I don't know. It just annoys the crap out of me that I am stuck in a state where I have to buy these giant death rectangles. If I'm gonna get a new truck, new vehicle as a truck, I gotta buy one of the American death rectangles. I can own an older truck, but at some point I'm gonna have to have a I'm distracted by Rachel Dolezal having an OnlyFans. The tan lines on her must be amazing. But I can't own these vehicles. I got to go buy one of these death rectangles, and if I have an older one, I got to register it as an antique. So then I can't drive it at my leisure. It has limitations. If a cop wants to pull me over and screw with me, he can do it. It's just, I don't know. Of all the things to ban, they changed the tobacco laws so you can't buy the weed paper, like cigarette rolling paper. Well, they make a weed one where it's like all ready to go. You just load it up with weed. They're called cones. And you can't buy those in bulk for Maine anymore. They changed the law so that it qualifies as a tobacco product. So that way Amazon and other online distributors are now violating the law to send that to you, because you can't send tobacco products through the mail unverified like that. Or whatever. I don't know. The state just doesn't allow it. So you can't buy freaking... you can roll your own joints, right? But it's with the cigarette paper. It's with the cigarette paper. And that's... I don't know, man. That's... you could do it. It's great, but it's a different type of paper. I don't know. It tastes awful when you do that. I hate it. So then you got to buy like the local stuff, which is only like six of these pre-rolled doodads to a package, and it's 88 cents a go. And it's like, gosh, I just need some paper to smoke, dude. Gosh. I'll go make a bowl out of a Coke can. Gosh, you could charge me this. It's nuts. But this is what it is. I was watching a movie earlier today, a video earlier today. This is communism. I'm not trying to be funny. This is communism. When the state tells you you can't do things that they're not violent crimes. No one's getting hurt. There's no damage being done to anybody at all. It's just something the government doesn't feel they have control of, and they want control of it because they don't have control of it. That's it. There's no other rhyme or reason to it. We got rid of the K trucks because we could. We got rid of all the Japanese imports because we could. We want to ban your gas stove because we can. We want to get rid of your gas-powered cars because we can. There's no rhyme or reason. We're going to just get rid of them because we want to, period. That's communism. That's straight up Mao Zedong communism. We're doing it today because we feel like it. There's no other reason. This drives me up the wall. Yeah. Losing freedoms makes you a better person. Yeah. Not much of a person, though. That's for sure. But I have been talking for a while, so I am going to outro with Jontron and then Fling song, because I need to advertise him. We're going to eventually make a manga, so I need to advertise him. So, and then we'll close out with the anime song. So brace yourself for another 10 minutes of music and sound. But thank you all for coming. I hope you had a great time. I dusted off the old StreamYard here, and we're going to close her down here a little bit over the 2-hour mark. I appreciate you coming by and listening to me rant about trucks and whatnot. Maybe I'll do it again. This is a subject that is close to my heart, as you can tell. I was raised by 2 vehicle enthusiasts. My parents both really enjoyed cars, and so I kind of fell into it. They, in fact, as a married couple, they modified a 1996 Lincoln Town Car 6-passenger limousine. They extended the front end on it 18 inches for a fiberglass Duesenberg conversion kit. My father, 76 years old, laying on his back with an oxygen line, welding, doing spot welds, acetylene welding, a frame together on a limousine. 76 years old, oxygen line running up his nose. Sometimes I can't believe it, you know? My mom in there doing the modifications to the steering rack so that way it reached. It was a family thing, you know? I love it. I miss it. I hope I can have it with my kids if I ever get that lucky, you know? You can build a car together. That'd be what I would do every summer with my kids when they get old enough, obviously. A little baby trying to do it wouldn't make sense. But, you know, and teenagers, rather than sitting around on TikTok eating Tide Pods all summer, you go out and restore a car with dear old dad. Nothing too difficult. Maybe something that needs a new coat of paint, a little bit of Bondo, and a new engine. Something you could drop in there and take care of over the summer with 2 kids. And just make that a tradition every summer. You put a car together, get it temp registered to go out to dinner in, and then you sell it. Split the profits among everybody involved and do her again next summer. And that way the kids learn everything they need to know about these vehicles and the value of hard work, and they make a little bit of money over the summer, and they got a neat story to tell when they go back to school. It can be that easy. It can be that easy. Kids aren't that hard. People think they are, but they're not. They're not that difficult. We overcomplicate them because we want them to be complicated. But they're just little humans. They're just little people. Huh? Not that kind of little people, other little people, but you know, people. But that's that. Yeah, Ray is open for babies. Oh man, the other day just gets my blood hot. All that yelling. 30 kittens, yeah, right. God bless you, Sight. Yeah, well, you know, that's how it is. But yeah, we're gonna run music, we're gonna run sounds, and thank you very much. This was fun. We'll do it again. Bitch about cars. Maybe I'll bitch about cars with guests. Wouldn't that be nice?
Hallelujah! Holy shit!
Never take the blame for it. You have eyes to fingertips, hidden tales of forbidden love. You've left me miserable, 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 miserable. You've left me miserable, miserable, visions of better times, kingdoms that lie like wine. Why did God fail to improve us? Teardrops of acid rain burning down through my veins. Can't I just sleep for a night? Despite my fears, I dance for you, even while others move. Well, can one wait and live again? Or desperate, desperate,
Maybe we're just sleepwalking. But you know what? I'm glad you were here with me, and I hope we get to do it again sometime. Stay strong.